Dawn Brancheau, a marine trainer and an orca lover, would never imagine that her favorite orca would brutally attack her. This is the fatal case of Dawn Brancheau, who got killed by the orca. Dawn Brancheau was born and raised in Indiana. From a young age, Dawn loved animals, and her dreams of working with animals emerged when her parents took her on vacation to SeaWorld in Orlando. On this vacation, she observed how the marine trainers interacted with the orca. Dawn was intrigued by the marine trainer's job, and she told her mom that this is her dream job. Before Dawn started down the path that would lead to her dream job, she studied dual degree in psychology and animal behavior so that she could understand animal psychology better. Dawn's love for animals was seen in her actions, as she volunteered at an animal shelter in her free time, and her home was filled with beloved pets. Eventually, Dawn landed a job at Six Flags theme parks, where she worked with otters and sea lions before transferring to SeaWorld in 1996. SeaWorld was the place where her dream came true, as Dawn got to work with orcas. Dawn became the face of the SeaWorld thanks to her competency in performing stunts with orcas and taking good care of them. Among the many orcas, Dawn developed a close bond with a SeaWorld orca called Tilikum. The bond between them was based on love and trust, according to all those who worked alongside the pair. Tilikum was caught off of Iceland in 1983 when he was 2 years old. At such a young age, he was separated from his mother and was put into a concrete holding tank at Hafnarfjordur Marine Zoo near Reykjavik for a year before Tilikum was shipped off to Sealand of the Pacific in 1984. Tilikum's life at Sealand was miserable, as he was forced to spend 14 hours a day in a tiny 26-foot pool. Food was withheld from him as a training technique, and he endured attacks from the 2 dominant female orcas, whom he was forced to live with. Tilikum also had to perform 8 shows a day for 7 days a week, which caused him to become frustrated with Sealand for their harsh treatment. Tilikum's only way of venting his frustration was by being violent towards the marine trainers, as he was being held in captivity. In February 1991, Kelty Byrne was the first victim to fall prey to Tilikum. She is a young part-time trainer who accidentally slipped and fell into the pool. Tilikum grabbed her to the bottom of the pool, and his 2 other tank mates prevented the Sealand staff from reaching Kelty. The staff threw the life ring out to her, but she couldn't grab it as the whales blocked her. The orcas eventually ripped apart Kelty, leaving bite marks and bruises on her skin. The orcas refused to let Kelty's body go, as her body could only be recovered several hours later. When Kelty died, she was only 20 years old, and visitors to the attraction could hear her scream, "I don't want to die." Not long after Kelty's death, Sealand closed its doors, and Tilikum were purchased by SeaWorld. At SeaWorld Orlando, Tilikum's violence did not stop there. On July 6, 1999, horrified trainers found the body of 27-year-old Daniel Dukes over Tilikum's back. Daniel Dukes is a homeless person who visited SeaWorld the day before and stayed after the park closed without the security guards discovering him. It was unclear whether he jumped, fell, or was pulled by Tilikum into the huge tank. Daniel Dukes died horribly, as he was badly bitten by Tilikum. Daniel's black nylon swimming trunks were noted to have the crotch and inner leg seams torn open. This resulted in his pubic area being bitten off by Tilikum, and there were a lot of bite marks on his body. His face was so badly bitten that his funeral had to be held closed casket. Dawn was aware of both cases, and despite knowing that, she still believed that orcas attacking humans in captivity was rare, as she believed in the good nature of the killer whales. However, she is proven to be wrong, which comes with the consequences that Dawn has to pay with her life. On February 24, 2010, Tilikum did it again, this time on the SeaWorld star trainer Dawn. Tilikum and Dawn performed at the Dining with Shamu Show at SeaWorld, where guests enjoyed open-air dining with a live killer whale show. According to witnesses, Tilikum suddenly grabbed her by the ponytail, pulled her into the pool, and began swinging her underwater in his mouth. Other witnesses claimed that she got pulled into the pool by her arm or by her shoulder. This action pulled Dawn downwards, which quickly drowned her. One spectator who saw the fateful event said, "It did not look normal, it was scary." Tilikum was very wild with the trainer by shaking her and moving extremely fast. Tilikum's jerking motions resulted in Dawn's jaw to fractured, her ear, knee, and arm dislocated, and her vertebrae and ribs being snapped. Her spinal cord had been severed, and her scalp was completely removed from the head, which was found at the bottom of the pool. Even after Dawn was dead, Tilikum refused to release her and kept her body with him in the pool for 45 minutes. Attempts of the other trainers to coax him away from Dawn with food and nets were useless, as Tilikum refused to let go. Dawn's death was caught on camera, but it was not released to the public to respect her family. Dawn's death made headlines across the world with regards to whether it is ethical to keep Orca in captivity. This has sparked the release of the documentary Blackfish in 2013, which focused heavily on the death of Dawn Brancheau. The film also sheds light on the treacherous conditions the orca faces in captivity, which causes widespread petitions to ask corporate sponsors to cut ties with SeaWorld and musicians to cancel performances at the venue. Even celebrities and students got involved in spreading the message. Protests took place outside the park and across the world. SeaWorld pushed back, claiming that the film was misleading, and shortly after launched the website SeaWorld Cares to highlight their commitment to protecting whales both in human care and in the wild. This effort to divert the conversation was useless, as the damage was done. Subsequently, after the documentary, Southwest Airlines ended its partnership with SeaWorld, and several musicians canceled their shows there. As a result, the stock price has plummeted, and within 5 years, 2 CEOs had left SeaWorld. In 2016, SeaWorld announced that they would stop breeding orcas in captivity, as California passed a ban on captive orcas that year. Their focus is now on the conservation and rehabilitation of the orca in their care. Tilikum was rarely seen by the public after that incident. Reports claim that he would spend hours just lying on the surface of the water before he died in January 2017 due to a bacterial lung infection. As for Dawn Brancheau, her family would prefer to focus on how she lived rather than how she died. Her family created an eponymous foundation in her honor 6 years after she died, and its mission is to improve the lives of children and animals in need. Although Dawn has left the world, she will forever be remembered for her passion and love for performing. May you rest in peace, Dawn Brancheau.